Hi everyone, it's Natasha. I wanted to share with you the invitations I made for Eli's 7th birthday party. It's Lego themed and it's a pool party. So here is the completed card. I'm just going to finish the last one with you, and I'll share with you exactly what I used. So I started off with a white Staples base. I think these are not report covers, just cardstock. It's 110-pound weight. It goes through the regular home printer nicely. It's also a nice weight for the base of the card, so that's what I started off with. And I use a total of 13 sheets, 10 for the invitations because they're cut in half, so that's 20 invitations. And then the sentiment Lego Toe Party were the other 3 sheets. And then the base layer above that is this poster board from Dollar Tree, and it comes in a pack of 5. And that's 14 by 11 inches, which is great because I used 3 1/4 sheets. So I'm just put those aside. And then the color papers that I used are from Coordinations, and I used the blue and green, which are Eli's favorite colors from the Lego sets he uses, and I cut those down to squares, 1 1/4 inch squares, and then I made up, here's a completed one, I made up a 8-piece and a 4-piece, you know how little Legos are. Then you'll also need a 1/2 inch hole punch, and I use this little EK Success little workhorse, worked wonderfully, also Coordinations paper, because you want to use the same color as the base. I also used a white gel pen to give a little bit of a hint of shadowing on the card. There you go. And ever so slightly in the background of the main message it just says Eli's turning 7. Eli's turning 7 over and over again in a very, very faint gray. It turns into kind of a background paper, and then Lego to a Party is the sentiment on top. Then the detail information's on the inside, and then as a little bonus, I included a little coloring Lego character for them to use, and then on the back, it's just my stamp created by, and it's the one I got from an online seller on eBay. And again, my blog post will have a full recipe including all of the tools that I used, as well as the number of each of the items. You'll also need dimensional adhesives. Now, I found, because this is a 1/2 inch punch that I used for the little Lego tops, this Stampin' Up! Hexagon is perfect. Unfortunately, I ran out, so I had to use some of this 1/4 inch little dots. These were a little less cooperative. This is definitely by far the easiest thing to use. I went through a lot of these. Just to give you the statistics, for the 20 invitations, I used both 3 green and 3 blue. That's a blue one that we're going to finish together. And that's times 20, so 61 1/4 inch squares. Each one has 4 dots. That's 240 little dots in green and 240 little dots in blue. Make sure you plan this out well, because that's a very time-consuming part of the whole process. Let me put this aside. Actually, this is garbage now. I can recycle that. And we'll finish off the last card. So you'll also need a pair of tweezers. I find that this is by far the most productive thing to use instead of having to pick up these little pieces on your, with your fingers. I also use these little Dollar Tree containers. That's my computer going to sleep. Little Dollar Tree containers. They come to a pack of 10. They're wonderful as you're making all these little, little elements, and I kept them all separated. So I had the green ones separately, then I had the blue ones, blue squares, and then I also had the blue dots. So it's the last blue dot that we're going to need. You're also going to need, obviously, adhesive. I used this taped adhesive that I have in it's from Daiso. Thanks to Vicky. Thank you, Vicky. So, Mason might like these invitations. So I'm going to use the very last one, do one right here, and I need 4 dots for that. And I've already added the adhesive to them, so I'm just going to, this is where the tweezers are going to come in useful. I'm going to remove the adhesive on the back and then take my little dot. And if you want to make things easier for yourself, don't use paper that has a pattern or texture. Because this paper has texture, I've had to kind of line up the texture dots, as well, but that's only because I have anal retentive tendencies, and I just eyeball them with the grain going in the same direction. And this, because I've done so many already, I've gotten into a groove, and it's easy for me to do. If you feel like you can't space them equally, remember the human eye can discern a millimeter of something being off. So there you go, there's one, and I'm just going to add a little piece of tape on the back. I don't need a lot, because remember these are just going to be tossed away. And then I'm going to peel this off and adhere the very last piece, which is going to complete all the invitations. I also use the tweezers for this. So just turn it on its side and pop it on, press down, and that's done. And the very last thing to do is to add the little shadows on each of these. So I'm going to take my white gel pen and just do little half moons. And you'll notice that on the completed ones, I'll show you one that was done earlier, the white gel pen does fade ever so slightly, so it doesn't remain the very vivid bright white, which is perfectly fine by me. Again, it's a little detail. You don't really have to do this. If you don't want to go through the effort of doing these individual little pop dotted or, you know, dimensionally adhered little tops of the Legos, you can use embossing folder. I don't recall the name of it, but I know there's a larger dot one. It's not the Swiss dots, it's a little bigger one. You can certainly simulate the look of Legos, but this is what I decided to go with. So there's the completed invitation. Again, there are 20 of them, so if you have a lot more to do, I would definitely say go with the embossing folder instead of this individual ones, but they're still shallow enough, you know, small enough where they could be put, you know, put in the mail. We had originally thought we were going to also include a little pack of crayons to use to color in, but most kids already have crayons. It's just going to be one more thing that needs to be accommodated for, and since these are being put in the post, that's a lot easier to put them in an A2 size envelope. And I'm sorry, I forgot to mention, this is a standard A2 size. It's 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, so it's an 8 1/2 by 11 sheet of paper cut in half this way, or this way. So there's 2 pieces. So you get 2 cards to a cardstock sheet. So that's it. That's the adorable little Lego to a party invitations that Eli's friends and classmates are going to be receiving, so they can go enjoy their pool party in January. If you have any questions for me, feel free to ask. I will have a full blog post along with pictures and the full recipe for the cards, including all of the tools and recommendations and links wherever I can find, like the staples paper and the coordinations paper, along with any other tools that I use. Don't forget to thumbs up. It's free for you and helps me out, and I will see you next time. Thanks for watching, everyone.